Segment 3, Gold and Black Live. This face is familiar to Purdue fans. Mark Herrmann, one of the members of the Cradle of Quarterbacks College Football Hall of Fame member, and returning to the sidelines on Saturday, tomorrow, when Purdue takes on Syracuse at the JMA Wireless Dome, aka Carrier Dome. And Mark, first, welcome to segment 3, and yet that's going to be a fun experience for you to be on the sidelines in what probably will be a little bit of a loud environment.
Yeah, anticipating very loud. I think Syracuse is stoked for this game. They've gotten off to a great start. Their fans are excited. They've struggled in the past under Dino Babers, but I really feel like they've got something going now. So they've got a great opponent in Purdue coming in. And so I think, it'll be a raucous environment. And heading to the sidelines, that'll be something different. Been in the booth for several years, but that'll be a nice vantage point, and hopefully I'll be able to add a little insight from the sidelines.
Yeah, it'll be a good environment. Now, you have played in domes, in fact, many times in your pro career, mostly, obviously, but one time in your college career, I think it's Purdue's first experience in a dome stadium was December 31st, 1979, a game you remember well, beating Tennessee in the Blue Modded Bowl. But talk about that, and obviously you played professionally in dome stadiums many times, but what extra preparations go into that? What does a quarterback need to be thinking about? Aiden OConnell's a pretty sharp guy, but that concentration level probably needs to be up just an extra notch.
Yeah, no question. And it really puts the onus on your tackles. They're the furthest removed, and they're not, they can look in at the ball, but they're the ones that are not hearing as clearly. And, your receivers are just looking at the ball. So those guys have got to sit tight, communicating in the huddle at the line of scrimmage. If you're going to change something at the line, could be an issue, not everybody hearing the calls. So, I don't know if you go in with a more vanilla game plan, but certainly maybe you limit some of your opportunities at the line of scrimmage and just go with the play called. But it does affect you from a concentration standpoint, and just, you may do a few more signals as opposed to vocal things. So, you really got to be disciplined, kind of hold your water, as they say, and because you don't want to get a flurry of legal procedure penalties and put you in longer yardage situations. So I think this will be a challenge, and I'm sure there's been some crowd noise piped in at the practices this week to get ready for that. But it's a unique experience, and I'm not sure a lot of these guys have played in a dome situation. So it'll be a challenge to begin with.
Yeah, Jeff Brom's lone appearance back at Purdue 2017 at Lucas Oil. You have played back in the day and in your pro days, the old Hoosier Dome, and of course up at Minneapolis too, two of the louder places that you can remember. Give us your rundown of some of the loudest places you can recall from a dome stadium perspective.
Well, no question. The loudest for me was when I was with the Chargers going up to Seattle every year. The King Dome was pretty darn loud, and it was more of a concrete roof, so that sound just bounced right back at you. The Superdome in its day got cranking pretty good. So down in New Orleans, there were some super loud environments, and certainly. The Hoosier Dome, RCA Dome, all those got going. But I'd have to single out Seattle as the loudest place that I've been in.
All right, Aiden OConnell, the quarterbacks, review quarterbacks and look at and watch quarterback play. I thought Purdue last week was pretty much on message. I mean, they didn't have many bad penalties, didn't have any hardly. Aiden OConnell, 17 of 19. He was kind of a surgical performance. What are you seeing out of him in week 1 and 2, and yet still maybe an adjustment period with some receivers and trying to find a number 2 guy that really can carry the mail for Purdue?
Yeah, I thought it was a challenge week 1 against Penn State. That's as good a secondary as I think that Purdue's going to face all year. A couple of really good corners they had, and some safeties. So certainly Aiden got back on track last week, and he's a great passer. The guy knows where he's going with the football. He's accurate. That's so important. And he knows his outlets. That's so critical. You've got to get, if that first receiver is covered, get off of him quickly and go to your next guy. And chances are that guy's going to be open, especially if he's on the other side of the field. So I think Aiden's grasp of the offense puts him ahead of the curve, and certainly from a throwing standpoint and sitting in the pocket and just knowing and hitting guys on the run. That is such a key. You don't want to get it behind them and make them have to slow down. A couple passes to Charlie Jones right on the money, caught him in stride, and he was able to make big gains. So I know Dino Babers has been raving about what he has seen from Aiden OConnell. So I look for Aiden to continue his good numbers. If he can get protection, they're going to face some challenges defensively from Syracuse this week. So we'll see how he adapts, but totally impressed by Aiden so far.
If you were the offensive coordinator, Jeff Brom, looking at that 3-3-5 defense, if you've seen those in your days, what might suit Purdue well to exploiting that, or is that going to be an extra challenge for Purdue because of that 3-3-5?
Yeah, there'll be some different looks, and they'll drop down different personnel to give you a 4-man front. But I think Purdue needs to run the football. Obviously, they've got a size advantage, they've got an experience advantage against the Syracuse defense. They're going to throw a lot of different looks, try to confuse the offense and Aiden. Maybe bait him into making a bad decision or something. So to negate their lack of size, they've got some quickness, and they've got, much like Drew Tiller used to do, move a safety down to linebacker down to defensive lineman, that kind of thing. I think that's what Syracuse has done. So you got to be sharp in your protection. I think this is a pretty good veteran offensive line. So you can't go chasing some guy because another guy's going to fill that gap. So they're going to do a lot of loops and swings and all this thing. So I think they're going to try to throw a lot of different things. When that happens, though, you can get some big plays. And I think that's what Purdue's going to look for. Get the ball out, and then you can maybe catch them out of their coverage.
In your playing days at Purdue, you had an excellent former walk-on that turned into be an excellent player, played in the NFL, Mike Augustiniak. Devin Mockabee certainly impressed last week. I know he's not going to be. I'd be shocked if he carries it 25 times this week, but he may be part of the rotation. But it seems to me with Dylan Downing and King Daru, when healthy, that Purdue can be serviceable in the run game. I mean, is that what you see from this point?
Oh, no question. I think they've got to commit maybe on early downs to get into that 2nd and 6, 2nd and 5, instead of just dropping back and throwing it and hoping that Aiden, hits on a high percentage. I just don't think, especially in a raucous environment, you got to take that crowd out of it a little bit, get some runs, get your offense confident that they can come off the ball and knock some people back. And then the play action and all those, the short passes and all those things really open up for you. So I don't think Purdue can afford at all to be one-dimensional up there. And I do, like you said, Alan, that it's a capable stable of running backs. And I did love what I see from Mockabee. He goes and gets it. He's got a little more quickness than the other two. So I like that from him. So, maybe he'll see 10, 15 snaps this week as opposed to just mop-up duty like last week.
Yeah, I got to think that that's going to happen, and it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out because Jeff Brom is known for trying to figure things out, and that's going to be a challenge certainly against Syracuse. All right, let's talk a little bit about your day job, which of course was with the John Purdue Club, and you've been back there for a handful of years. You had that thing called COVID you had to deal with, which is a challenge for everybody, but a lot going on. A big stadium renovation announced at the end of August. The John Purdue Club, it is a new world with NIL and everything else, but probably never a dull moment. But how's that experience been for you so far?
Oh, terrific. We've got a great staff, all the way down from Mike Babinski on to our John Purdue staff and Tim House. And so we've got the good things happening. As you mentioned, I think the stadium renovation is extremely exciting. And I think it's going to, add something to that stadium that, it's been lacking a little bit. The entire atmosphere. I just feel like this is a great step. Nowadays you've got to keep up with the rest. Obviously, Alan, that everybody's got the bells and whistles. And so we've got to do that from our standpoint, but very excited about that. As you mentioned, NIL has entered into the equation. So we've got to maybe funnel some of the dollars that may have been towards capital projects or scholarships into that area. And Jeff McKean and the Boilermaker Alliance is in great shape now, and there's good foundation. So we've got to be able to feed funds in that area. So yeah, as we talk to our donors, there are options there now, and we don't want to cannibalize ourselves, but we really feel like there has to be monies in that pot to make us competitive. But we've also got to cover the scholarship bill, which we just did this past year totally, which is a great step for John Purdue. And then certainly the capital projects are number one going forward.
You look at the Purdue fan base, but also the Purdue donor base, and it's a unique group. I mean, it's a loyal group that may work its way to change and embraces it in time. But how have you seen that? I mean, obviously you've been around Purdue for 40 plus years and have seen fans involved, but now that you're involved with it day to day, what's been that experience about from a donor perspective that really can kind of paint the picture of that Purdue fan and Purdue supporter?
Yeah, I'm continually amazed at the generosity, the loyalty, the just everything about Purdue. These folks just want to see Purdue succeed. They want to help us in our cause. And it's, we set records last year coming off of COVID and the More Than a Game campaign where we raised 19 million just to stay afloat. So that gives you a glimpse of what the Purdue fan base is like. And we've got global support, and it's just, we love our jobs because working with our donors and supporters, they make our job easy because they're there, they want to help, and they want to help support this team. And obviously we want to see championships, and we feel like one helps the other. So we want to have Purdue be competitive, but there aren't a lot of just your average day Purdue fans. Most of Purdue fans went to school there. You're not getting the Notre Dame subway alum type of deal. You're getting fans who wore the gold and black and walked the steps of the university. So, it's just a terrific group of fans and supporters. And we are just totally blessed with the loyalty and generosity.
Yeah, words from a living legend, Mark Herrmann, of course, three-time MVP of bowl games, first team All-American, finished in the top 5 of the Heisman Trophy balloting. He's done it all. And we'll have to get our Bart Burrell mentioned, and the great Bart Burrell, and the great connection between Mark Herrmann and Bart Burrell as well. Bart, a good friend of the show, and making his way to better health from Florida. Charlie Jones, Aiden OConnell, Bart Burrell, Mark Herrmann. There's some similarities already, and some fun things to think about for longtime Purdue fans. Mark, have a great trip east, and as they say, bring home a winner. That would be a great thing, but it will be an interesting afternoon tomorrow afternoon when Purdue takes on Syracuse, noon kick, and it'll be a lot of fun for you to be on that sideline.
Yeah, really excited, Alan. Thanks for having me once again. And go Boilers. We need to get a road win and get back to above 500. But I expect a great performance, and I think we'll have some fans out there. So we'll hold our own and hope for a great victory.
All right, thanks so much. All right, we want to thank Triple X on the hill, but on the level, Purdue tradition since 1929. State Farm agent Trent Johnson at trentismyagent.com. And of course, the good folks at WLFI for helping us, Gordon Jackson, as well, and all the folks that make this happen behind the scenes. So we'll see you next week on Gold and Black Live as we get ready for homecoming, a night game, Mark, on homecoming. That's a first when Purdue plays Florida Atlantic. That'll be fun as well. So, all right, Mark, thanks again. And everybody have a great week. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week on Gold and Black Live.